वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पाणिर्मधुरः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
रेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुराः पाणिर्मधुराः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
हरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा युक्तं मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं
चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्योताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज संहारो आपे तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय।
जय श्री कृष्णा। यदि आप जूम मीटिंग में चैट नोटिफिकेशन को ऑफ करना चाहते हैं तो सबसे पहले आपको चैट ऑप्शन पर क्लिक करना है। उसके पश्चात आपको इन 3 बिंदुओं पर क्लिक करना है। टर्न ऑफ नोटिफिकेशंस इस पर क्लिक करना है और यहाँ आपको म्यूट पर दबाकर इन चैट्स को ऑफ कर देना है। इसके पश्चात आपको चैट नोटिफिकेशंस नहीं आएंगे। जय श्री कृष्णा।
सच्चिदानन्दम् वासुदेवम् व्रजप्रियम् धर्मसंस्थापकम् वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Jai Shri Krishna everyone. A very warm welcome to the Vivechan session of the 18th chapter, Moksha Sannyas Yoga, which inculcates in all of us the light of selfless action and Krishna Bhakti as pathway to liberation and freedom. Both the concepts of sannyas and tyag, they are explained in depth. Seeking the profound blessings of Shri Krishna and Param Pujya Swami Ji Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj, I would like to invite Sushma Deshmukh Ji from Thane, Maharashtra, who is retired from State Bank of India. She is educated as a graduate and her hobbies are reading and traveling. She joined Geeta Pariwar in April 2021 and giving seva as GC in the mentoring team. Welcome, Sushma Didi.
Shri Krishna. Vasudeva Sutan Devam Vasudeva Sutan Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum. Jai Shri Krishna everyone.
Thank you, Didi, for this wonderful prayer. Lighting Diya is praising the knowledge and the divinity of Sri Hari, who is the source of all the power, light, and action and thoughts. For this, I would like to invite Sri Rajendra Sharma Ji from Guwahati, Assam, who has business of bag wholesale. He is educated as M.Com. He joined Geeta Pariwar in July 2024 and giving seva as batch coordinator, group coordinator, technical assistant, and TA mentor. Welcome, Rajendra Ji.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृतां कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thank you, Rajendra Bhaiya, for this beautiful diya lighting. Now, before we proceed on to the main session, I have a great information for everyone. Upcoming tomorrow, that is 15th of February, will be hallmarked by the semi-finals of the Arjun group on the play.learngeeta.com. And you all can join the wonderful event via YouTube link and the website also. And what makes this event so remarkable is that along with joining, you all can play also. And I request everybody to join on time. Don't let the enthusiasm and excitement go down. Derive the maximum fun and benefits of this knowledgeable journey. Let's all make this semi-final a real memorable one. Another information is of the L1 grammar sessions in different languages will be conducted tomorrow at morning times, and all the links will be shared at your group, respective groups, along with the Zoom link and the YouTube link, and you can join and derive the benefit of the L1 grammar sessions tomorrow morning. And now we proceed on to our main session of the Vivechan. The scintillating star speaker of today is none other than Shri Vikas Vaidya. He has been NRI for 12 years and has traveled around the world. He's educated as BE Mechanical and PG DBM. He owns a small IT company. He's based in Pune. He's a master of many languages like English, Hindi, Marathi, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish. Since last 5 years, in his daily routine, he recites 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita daily. He's serving as co-trainer for L1 to L4 batches and also serving in the trainer selection department and trainers training department from L1 to L4. He's fully involved in teaching and also in the Vivechan sessions of Vishnu Sahasranam as a member of Pune Geeta Pariwar. He's guiding the Geeta Vratis to prepare for Sringeri Peeth Geeta exam also. He has given Geeta Kantastikaran exam at Sringeri Peeth and received first prize at the hands of Param Pujya Jagat Guru Shankaracharya ji. The words will fall short in his praise. I now invite Vikas Vaidya for today's interpretation session.
वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं जय श्री कृष्ण टू ऑल. पूज्य स्वामी जी के चरण कमलों में कोटि कोटि नमन. A warm welcome to all of you. We are discussing Adhyay 18th, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Last time we had discussed up to slok number 47. Shreyan Swadharmo Viguna Paradharmat Swanushthitaat Svabhavniyatam Karma Kurvanna Apnoti Kilbisham. One should do his own prescribed duty, even if it has some lacunas, rather than trying to do somebody else's duty. Now this logic continues in the next shloka. God says in the next shloka 48, Sahajang karma kaunteya sadosha vinatyajet sarvarambha hi doshena dhume nagririva vrataha. One should not abandon duties born out of one's nature. Sahajang karma kaunteya sadosha mapi natyajet. Even if there are doshas in that, you should not give up your own prescribed duties. Even if one sees some defects in it, one should not give up. Kaunteya, son of Kunti, Arjuna, indeed, all endeavors are wild or covered by some evil things, such as fire by smoke. Sarvarambhahi doshena dhume nagri rivavrataha. Sarvarambha means all activities. Sarvarambha means not big samarambha, but every activity is with some kind of lacunas, with some kind of defects in that. People sometimes withdraw from their duty because they see a defect in that. Here Shri Krishna Bhagavan says that no work is free from fault. Just as fire naturally has smoke on the top of it, likewise, every activity, every karma has some deficiency in it, some defect in it. For example, simple activity of breathing. Breathing without killing millions of microbes, is it possible? There are microbes, millions of microbes in the air. When we breathe, we are killing a lot of microbes. That's why we see Jain Munis, they cover their mouth, thinking that they can avoid. Can it be avoided by covering the mouth? Because some of the air is going inside, no? Can we live without air, without inhaling? Cannot. So even breathing has a deficiency, has a defect in it, that it kills the microbes. If we cultivate the land, we destroy millions of microorganisms, isn't it? If we succeed against competition in business, for example, we deprive others of wealth. हमने तो पैसा कमा लिया, but किसी के दूसरे का तो loss हुआ है ना. He has not earned because we have earned. When we eat, we deprive others of food. Food is limited. When we are eating, somebody else is not getting. Since Swadharma entails activity, it cannot be devoid of defects. But the benefits of Swadharma far outweigh this kind of defects. If we stop breathing, can we live? So living is a greater benefit, no, of breathing. And the foremost benefit is that it provides comfortable and natural path for one's purification and elevation. This is what Bhagavan Shri Krishna is telling Arjuna. not to abandon the work that is best suited to his nature, even if it has defects in it, rather to work according to his natural propensity. Now, this shloka was said 5,500 years back to Arjuna. Is it relevant today? We need to find relevance of Gita in today's life. So let us find the relevance of this shloka in today's life. Savajang karma kaunteya sudoshmanattajit sarvarambhai doshana dhimenagri vyavratah. In short, the meaning is every duty has some imperfections, like fire accompanied by smoke. But one should not give up their rightful work, isn't it? Let us see how it applies in today's life. Arjuna was a project manager. This is today's Arjuna, not that Arjuna, old Arjuna. Arjuna was a project manager in a large multinational IT company. His team was talented, but like in any corporate environment, there were challenges. Challenges of tight deadlines, unpredictable client demands, and occasional team conflicts. This happens in all companies. Arjun was sincere, hardworking, yet often he felt frustrated. Ye kya ho raha hai? Is this the way to work? He would think, why is there so much of office politics? कोई सीधा काम ही नहीं करता है. Everybody is thinking political only. Why do clients keep changing the requirement every now and then? एक बार बोल दिया प्रोजेक्ट ऐसा है, डिफाइन कर दिया. Why do they keep changing every week, every month? And if only my team members were more disciplined. वो client थोड़ी कि we cannot dictate, but our own team members, are they disciplined? No, they are also not disciplined. So he used to say many times, maybe I should quit this and move to a perfect workplace where these problems are not there. On one Monday morning, after a chaotic work, one week of last minute, client changes, Arjun walked into office tense and exhausted. मुझे change आ रहा है client से. How do we work like this? Deadline cannot be postponed. Requirements are changing. His mentor, Mr. Raghavan, a senior vice president of that company, known for his very calm nature, noticed his stress. He said, Arjun, are you troubled? कुछ problem है क्या? Arjun replied, yes, sir. This project is in a mess. Every time we fix something, another issue pops up. There is miscommunication, shifting priorities, conflicts. Nothing feels clean or perfect. Sometimes I feel like leaving all this. बहुत हो गया. Mr. Raghavan smiled gently and he took Arjuna to the office balcony. Below that balcony, the city buzzed with noise and traffic jams and construction work going on and honking horns everywhere, cars going on here. He said, look at this city now. It runs with imperfections. कुछ perfect लग रहा है क्या यहाँ पे? It runs with imperfections, yet it runs beautifully. Workplaces are no different than this. Then he added, do you know what Bhagavad-Gītā says? Every duty, however noble, has some defects. Just as fire always has smoke. Same shloka, what we are reading now. But we don't abandon the fire because of smoke. We learn to work with it. Arjuna was listening quietly. Then Mr. Raghavan continued, corporate life will always have some pressure, conflicts, delays, and politics. These are the smoke. These pressures, conflicts, delays, politics, these are the smoke that comes with the fire of meaningful work. Our meaningful work is fire. It is accompanied by this smoke, which is conflict, delays, politics, all that. Instead of escaping, a great professional learns to handle these imperfections while staying steady in their duty. He placed his hand on Arjuna's shoulder, saying that, Arjuna, you are a capable project manager. Do your work with clarity and integrity. The imperfections are not a sign to quit. They are part of our path. This becomes a daily thing. This is a part of our path. Something changed in Arjuna. Something shifted inside Arjuna. He realized that no company, no team, or no project would ever be perfect. But he could still perform his duty with sincerity, adaptability, and calm acceptance. From that day, he approached the challenges differently, not as burdens, but as natural smoke that accompanies the fire of meaningful work. So what is the lesson that we get from this small story? Every job has flaws, politics, pressure, imperfections. You should not abandon your role just because challenges exist. Focus on your duty, not on finding a flawless environment, because you will never find a flawless environment. Impossible. True professionalism lies in performing your role despite inherent imperfections. Growth comes working through the difficulty, not escaping from it. Now, this is a serious story. We can have a very humorous story also related to this shloka. Savjam karma kvanti sojma tejit sarvarambhai dashana dhimenagri vavartaha. Every duty has imperfections, just as fire always comes with smoke. Another story. Rohan. Rohan worked in a medium-sized tech company as a software developer. He was good at his job, but he had one major problem. He believed that somewhere out there is a perfect office, a place where there were no meetings, deadlines magically met themselves, colleagues never argued, the coffee machine never broke, and the managers had the wisdom like a saint and the patience of prophets. Every time something went wrong, Rohan would mutter, I need a better company. ये company काम का नहीं है. I need to go to a better company. Now, episode 1 of the story of Rohan. One day, the office coffee machine broke down. Rohan dramatically announced, "This is unacceptable. I can't work without coffee." All IT guys are addicted to coffee. You can see that. Every couple of hours, they need a cup of coffee. He said, I can't work without coffee. I need a workplace where the machines also respect the human beings, the employees, and don't break down like this. His friend Meera, she was listening, she laughed. She said, relax, Rohan. It is just a coffee machine, not your oxygen supply. But Rohan was convinced, this is not a good company. I need to look for a perfect company. Then episode 2 of the same story. Next week, a stubborn bug in his code kept returning like an uninvited relative. Rohan, he complained, why can't the code work in one go? Why the code always has a bug? I'm going to find a place where the bugs don't exist. His manager overheard this, that he wants to find a place where the bugs don't work, don't have in the program. And he joked to Rohan, saying that, sure Rohan, you can look for that place, but that place is called heaven. It's a sphere स्वर्ग में हो सकता है, where there are no bugs, not in IT industry. Rohan says, no, sir, कुछ नहीं है, I can find a place. So he said, this is not a perfect place, I'll find a place where the bugs don't exist. Then ultimately came the disaster, ultimate disaster. The meeting was called and was scheduled for 30 minutes and it ran for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Rohan went mad. He whispered to his colleague Meera, if meetings were a criminal offense, then our boss should be put in jail. 30 minutes का मीटिंग बुला था, 3 घंटे तक चला रहता है मीटिंग. This is a criminal offense, he should be put in jail. Then Meera replied, okay, if he is in jail, then you would also be his accomplice in the jail. Rohan declared, that's it, enough is enough. I'm going to find a place where there are no meetings. When the work is already explained to everybody, why should there be meeting every now and then? The day is full of meetings only, when should we work? And meetings are also crossing their time limits. Then Meera said, okay, if you find a place where there are no meetings, let me know, I will also join you. Arjuna said, I'm going to reject this place now. I'm going to find a new place. Finally, Rohan could not take it anymore. He applied for a so-called perfect startup. He found it online. He joined that perfect startup company. He joined that company. First day he realized, point number 1, there was no coffee machine at all in the office. Second, the workload was triple. Third, deadlines were yesterday. People argued louder. Meetings happened every hour, not every day, every hour. Sometimes in the corridor and sometimes in the washroom as well, meetings. Rohan panicked seeing this atmosphere in that new startup company. Then he called Meera. Meera, I have seen the future of IT industries. It is terrifying. This place makes our old office look like a Swarga, Vaikuntha. I am coming back to our Vaikuntha again. Meera laughed. Rohan hurried back to his old job the next day, and when he joined his old job in the old office, he was looking like a monk who had just found enlightenment. He realized the life is like that. So the wisdom moment is, his old manager then smiled and said, Rohan, listen, every place has some flaws. Every job has some troubles. Even the best fire produces smoke. Rohan finally understood the essence of this shloka. Sahajam karma kvanteya subhyam tejit sarvarambe doshana dhime nagri deva vrataha. There is no perfect working place. There is only perfect sincerity in how you work. And the moral of this funny story is, coffee machines break everywhere. Bugs exist everywhere. Meetings multiply like rabbits. And politics, it's a universal phenomenon. There is no place where there is no politics. But running away never solves this. Working with calm acceptance does. It does work. See, in Gita Pariwar also, sometimes we have problems, operating problems. When the number of Swayam Sevak working is crossing 12,000, everybody's thinking is different, no? Everybody has his own ideas. It may be conflicting with somebody else's ideas. But when there is some operating problem like this, because of different clashing ideas, should we stop teaching Gita or what? Should we run away? Ridiculous, no? When family grows big, there are bound to be some problems, like smoke with fire. So we are in Gita Parivar always remember this slok. Savajam karma kvanti sumya tajit sarvarambai doshana dhimya nagri vavada. When there is work, there will be some deficiencies here and there. Our skill lies in working with that. Okay, continuing this, next sloka. Asakta buddhis sarvatra jitatma vigatas praha naishkarma siddhim paramam sannyasa inadi gacchati. Those whose intellect is unattached, asakta buddhi, who have mastered the mind, sarvatra jitatma, and are free from desires, vigata spruha, by practice of renunciation, attain the highest perfection of freedom from action, that is karma. Naishkarma siddhim paramam sannyasa inadi gacchati. Now, in this adhyaya, last adhyaya, Bhagavad-gītā, 18th adhyaya, Shri Krishna Bhagavan repeats many of the principles he has already said in earlier adhyayas. That is why this adhyaya is a summary of entire Gita. At the beginning of this adhyaya, while explaining about sannyas, Shri Krishna Bhagavan said to Arjuna that merely running away from the responsibilities of life is not sannyas. Now he describes the state of actionlessness or the Naishkarmya Siddhi. This state can be reached even amidst the flow of world by detaching ourselves from the events and outcomes and by simply focusing on doing our duty. This is just like water flowing under the bridge. The water enters from one side and flows from the other. The bridge is neither the recipient of water nor it is the distributor of water. What is coming one side going on the other side? It remains unaffected by the flow of water. Likewise, the karma yogis do their duties but keep the mind unaffected by the stream of events or the flow of events. They do not neglect putting their best efforts in doing their duty as an act of worship of God, but they leave the final outcome in His hands, in God's hands, and are thus contented and undisturbed with whatever happens. Sab God ka prasad hai. We need to accept God's verdict, God's decision, instead of demanding that no, God should do this only. A man had two daughters. The first one was married to a farmer, and the second was married to a brick kiln person. That means जो ईट का भट्टा होता है ना, ईट बनाते यहाँ पे, bricks. One day, the father rang up the first daughter, who was married to that farmer, inquired about her well-being. She replied, Father, we are going through a very tough time, economic hardships. Please pray to the God for us that we have plenty of rains in a couple of days, in a couple of weeks. Otherwise, We'll be ruined. He said, okay. Then he called his second daughter. She requested, Father, we are low on funds. We have no money. Please request the God not to send a rain in the coming 2 weeks or 2 months, so that we will have sunshine and a lot of good production of bricks. If it rains, the bricks will not be formed. We cannot manufacture bricks. Father heard the opposite request of his daughters. एक बोलती है पानी गिरा दो, दूसरी बोलती है पानी मत गिराओ. And he thought, God alone knows what is best. Let him do what he thinks is the right. Such acceptance of will of God brings detachment from outcome, despite being immersed in a continuous stream of events in the world. Do you expect God to give dancing to your request? Now, two daughters are asking different things. What should the God do? A doctor owning a hospital, he performs puja, requesting God that his hospital does well, and he earns a lot of money because he wants to buy a diamond necklace for his wife. So for that, he has to earn a lot of money from hospital. When he has to earn a lot of money from hospital, that means he has to get a lot of patients in the hospital. But the people around the hospital, every day they will pray to the God that they remain hale and hearty and never fall sick. They also pray to the same God. Now what should the God do? Should he accept the doctor's request, or he should accept the people's respect? He will do what is right. He will do what is right. So we should leave the verdict in the hands of God and not insist on something happening in our own way. Next shloka. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tathapnoti nibodhame samasenaiva kaunteya nishtha jnanasya para. Nibodhame. Hear from me briefly, Arjuna. I shall explain how one should one who has attained perfection, that means Naishkarma Siddhi, can also attain Parabrahma by being firmly fixed in the transcendental knowledge. Siddhim prapto yada brahma tadapnoti nibodhame samasenaiva kaunteya. Short में बताता हूँ कौन थे. निष्ठा ध्यान से अपरा. It is one matter to read theoretical knowledge, but it is different matter to realize it practically. It is said that good ideas are dime a dozen, and we experience it every day on WhatsApp. Everybody gives brilliant ideas, isn't it? So ideas are dime a dozen, but they are not worth a nickel if you don't act on them. बहुत अच्छे अच्छे उपदेश आते हैं WhatsApp के ऊपर. The theoretical pandits may have knowledge of all scriptures in their head, but still bereft of realization. By just having knowledge, have they realized the God? On the other hand, karma yogis get opportunities day and night to practice the truth of the scriptures. Thus, the consistent performance of karma yoga results in the realization of spiritual knowledge, what they have already acquired. But to put it in practice is what is required. Understanding and contemplating and then bringing it in day-to-day life, in day-to-day behavior, the message of Bhagavan Shri Krishna from Geeta results in realization of Geeta in our life. Like Puri Swami says, Geeta padhe, padhaye aur जीवन में लाए. How can you bring it in the जीवन if you don't contemplate and try to bring it in your day-to-day behavior? And when one attains the perfection of Naishkarmi Siddhi or actionlessness while performing karma, transcendental knowledge becomes available through experience. Fixed in that knowledge, the karma yogi attains the highest perfection of God realization. And how does this happen? Shri Krishna Bhagavan will explain as to how does this happen in the next shloka. Now the next shloka is a series of 3 shlokas, 51, 52, 53. They are all connected together, in which God will explain how a karma yogi works so that he realizes that Parabrahma. We'll read all the 3 shlokas. We'll try to understand all 3, and then we'll see how they are applicable in our day-to-day life. Shlok 51. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrutatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishyan stakva ragadvesho vidasya cha. What does it mean? Endowed with pure intellect. Buddhya vishuddhaya. Firmly restraining the senses. Dhrutatmanam niyamya cha. Turning away from sound and other objects of senses. Shabdadin vishyan stakva. Shabda sparsa rupa sangandha tyaktva and ragat vishwavidasya cha. Casting aside attraction and aversion. Then 52 slok. Vivikta sevi lagvashi yadavakkaya manasaha dhyanigoparo nityam vairagyam samupashitaha. Dwelling in solitude. Vivikta sevi. Lagvashi, taking light diet. Yatavakkaya manasaha, controlling speech, controlling body and controlling mind. Yatavakkaya manasaha. Dhyana yogaparo nityam. Ever engaged in meditation and concentration. And vairagyam subhashita, resorting to dispassion. Vairagya. Then 53rd slok says, Ahangaram balandarpam kamam krodam parigraham vimuchyadrimama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Having abandoned ahankaram, egoism, violence, arrogance, desire, kamam, krudam, anger, accumulation, parigraham, devoid of notion of mindness, nirmama, mamata rahit, and tranquility in mind, shanto, brahma bhuyaya kalpate. Such a man becomes qualified to attain Parabrahma. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He has not attained, but he becomes qualified. Through these three shlokas, Sri Krishna Bhagavan lays down the guidelines for the devotees, for the strivers to be followed in their life. Let us know how many of these we can bring in our day-to-day life. God says, Buddhya Vishuddhya Yukto. A striver of Sankhya Yoga who wants to realize the God should be endowed with a pure or sattvic intellect. Buddhi, sattvic buddhi. What is sattvic buddhi? That we already discussed in this adhyaya. There should be no doubt in his intellect. In this discipline of Sankhya, buddhi, intellect, is given priority. Discrimination, which is very essential for a striver, is revealed in this pure intellect. It is by this buddhya vishuddhya, it is by this discrimination that he severs his connection with the material world. Only when the buddhi is shuddha, then only he can cut down his relationship with the material world and get connected to the spiritual world. Vairagyam samvashrita. As worldly people depend on the objects and persons out of attraction or passion, a striver of Sankhya Yoga remains detached from attraction or passion of this material world. He has no attachment for the worldly persons or the places. He has no charm for it. Vairagyam samvashrita. Vivikta sevi lagvashi. Such a striver has natural inclination to live in solitude. He prefers living away from the crowd. This inclination is praiseworthy, because if a striver does not get such an opportunity to live in solitude, he should not be perturbed if he gets an opportunity. He gets perturbed, if he gets perturbed, then the importance of material world is likely to increase. If you go in solitude and if you start remembering the material world, then probably you will never go back to the solitude again. This importance further makes him more perturbed. When you start remembering that material world more and more, then he gets more disturbed. It is an obstacle in meditation. You hide yourself in a cave and keep thinking of material world. Can you enter into meditation? Your mind is already disturbed, perturbed. You should remain equanimous both in solitude and in crowded places. That is the art of Vivikta Sevi. And Lagvashi, so solitude is conducive to concentration, Vivikta Sevi, meditation and purification of heart. But it also provides a good opportunity to downsize and for relaxation. Moreover, a striver derives pleasure out of praise and honor won through his residence in a lonely place. But these are the stumbling blocks to the progress of striver. People will start appreciating you, praising you. Arey, wo to sannyas mein chale gaye. He has gone for solitude place. He is realizing the God probably. When you come back and you hear this praiseworthy word for you, you feel elated. Your ego gets bolstered. That becomes a stumbling block. So he should guard against this kind of praise if he gets. And Lagvashik, the striver should take a regulated diet. His food should be sattvic. What is sattvic food? That we discussed in 17th Adhyaya. And the quantity should not be too much. It should be enough for sustenance of body only. Then Dhrutatmanam Niyam Mecha. You should firmly restrain intellect from worldly temptations. You should allow the intellect to deviate from the goal of, you should not allow it to deviate, his intellect to deviate from the objective of God realization. The goal should be fixed and it should be firm in his mind at all times. Dhrutatmanam Niyam Mecha. Yatavakaya Manasa. He should control his speech, action by body and action by mind. He should not indulge his body in futile things like wandering here and there, or too much of relaxation, or journey for physical pleasures. His speech also should be thoughtful, should be agreeable, and necessarily free from reproach and scandal. लोगों को gossiping में मजा आता है, but that should not be the case with this devotee. The mind should also be trained to have thoughts only about the Lord and not of the material world. Yatava kaya manasa. Then Shabdadin Vishans Tekpa. The striver should learn to withdraw from the senses, from the sense objects. Every sense has a corresponding object. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Sound, touch, form, etc. Taste, smell. Because constant attraction to the sense objects creates a hurdle in meditation. You are seeing something, you like it and you keep seeing it only. When you will do meditation then? This is true for all the senses. This way he can meditate even in the crowded place. When he becomes Shabdadin Vishayans Tyaktva, he has become habituated to give up the sense objects, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Then he does not need a solitary place. He can meditate even in a crowded place. चलती ट्रेन में मेडिटेट कर सकते हैं, चलती बस में मेडिटेट कर सकते हैं. रागद्वेष विषय विदेश. A man is attached to persons and things which he thinks are useful for him. If one creates an obstacle in attaining these worldly objects, he automatically hates him. द्वेष करने लगता है. If he has attachment for something desirable, that means he automatically has aversion for something that is undesirable. If you have anurag, if you have attraction for something, that means you have with this dvesh or something, you are hatred for something opposite of it. A man is bound by both attraction and aversion. Both are binding him. Because he keeps on thinking on these lines of attraction, desirable, and aversion, undesirable at all times. Is it attraction? Is it desirable for me or not? So he keeps evaluating everything on these two counts, desirable and undesirable. This becoming in the nature, this causes great problems for him in his meditation. So he should keep himself away from attraction and aversion, ragadvesha videsha. Then dhyanigvaro nityam. The striver is ever engaged in meditation and concentration. During fixed hours of meditation, he should practice meditation only. And while during that time he discharges his professional and other practical duties, he should always believe that nothing else exists between the Lord and him. So whatever activity he does, he should do it with full attention, full focus. Then Vivikta Sevi Lagvashi Yadava Kaya Manasa plus Vimucha. Vimucha means to give up. A person has an egoistic notion that he is superior to others because of his virtues. मैं बहुत अच्छा काम करता हूँ, पुण्य काम कर रहा हूँ. I am different than others. This is called ahankar. A force to bring others under one's control or sway is called power. Vain consciousness of one's property or riches is called darpa, arrogance. The desire for obtaining worldly pleasures, prosperity and favorable circumstances is called calm. The feeling of excitement or provocation, a kind of hot sensation to do wrong to others because they have been a stumbling block towards selfishness And pride is called krodh, anger. Tendency to accumulate material things and objects is called parigraha. Bhagavan says a striver should abandon these tendencies of ego, of force, of arrogance, of desires, of lust, of anger, and accumulating material things. Then nirmama. Nirmama is without attachment. Nirmama is not nishthur. Nirmama is without attachment, without mamata. The biggest attachment we have is for our body, our senses, our mind, and our intellect. Shri, Indriya, Man, Buddhi. A striver should firmly believe that these were not ours 100 years ago. थे क्या अपने 100 years back? नहीं थे. We did not have this at all. And will not have this with us after 100 years. Isn't it? The same detachment should be there for a person also. If your own body, your mind, your own intellect is not yours for 100 years back, it will not be with you for after 100 years. Why do you insist that a person should always be with you? We can consider persons as ours only for offering them seva. So long as you are offering them seva, they are yours. For performing our kartavya, prescribed duty for them, it is wrong to regard them as ours. अपना कोई नहीं होता है. Ours वगैरह कुछ नहीं होता है. Was he ours 100 years back? Will he be ours after 100 years? He is ours only at the moment. If we regard them as not ours, then we become free from the motion of the notion of mindness. That becomes nirmama. Then shanto. The tranquility of mind is disturbed by achieving affinity towards the material world. If this affinity is renounced, the striver will remain tranquil in mind. Because we have already learned that attractions and aversions, they disturb the peace of mind. When these are over there, and what is the cause? Attraction and aversion? Because they are attracted to the material world. If we have to become shanta in our mind, then we have to avoid this and become shanta. And Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. This is the last. A striver who is devoid of sense of mindness, nirmama, and is tranquil in his mind, he becomes eligible, qualified for attaining Parabrahma. That is, as soon as his affinity towards material, the unreal thing is renounced, he becomes worthy of attaining Parabrahma, attaining God realization. So all these steps what we have discussed, they are qualifying steps for Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So these three shlokas what we have read just now, what is the relevance of these shlokas in today's life? Let's discuss one story, one anecdote for these three shlokas. Vikram was a project manager in a major IT company known for its chaos. His project had everything: confused requirements, impossible deadlines, teammates who behaved like they were in different time zones, though they were not. Clients who change their mind more often than they change the passwords. This happens. And an endless stream of emails, pings, alarms, escalations. People working in IT industry, they know this. Every day, Vikram would clutch his head and he would say, why is everything so messy? Why can't this be simple? His team lovingly used to call him Mr. Vikram is a walking escalation. He's a walking escalation. Now, what is the relevance of these shlokas? One Monday morning, the client sent a 36-page document full of conflicting instructions. Halfway through reading, Vikram felt like his brain was melting. Ye kya ho raha hai? Change, so much change. His mentor, the calm and wise senior manager, her name was Meena, she walked in and she said, stop, pull it that all aside. She drew a big circle on the whiteboard and asked, what is the one core issue in this project? What is the one core issue in this project? Vikram hesitated, then he slowly said, we don't have clarity on just 3 major requirements. Everything else is noise. Then Meena smiled and she said, when the fog of confusion clears, the truth stands in front of you, simple and sharp. In the first time in weeks, Vikram felt a little light. He realized that he did not solve 200 things. He need to solve only 3 things of the big project. So his mind should not get scattered. So this slok 52 what we have read, when confusion ends, vision becomes clear. So this is the lesson we get from Geeta. Now second, now the big issues were clear from the project. Vikram tried to fix them. But every time he sat to work, Slack pinged, email sounded, phone vibrated, someone shouted, "Oh, this is urgent, very urgent." New bugs were reported in the project. A teammate would ask, "Can we talk? Can you talk for a couple of minutes?" And the couple of minutes is never a couple of minutes, we know that. His mind became like a shaken soda bottle. So Meena gave him an unusual assignment. For 1 hour, no notifications, no meetings, no multitasking. Just focus on solving one requirement. Vikram did it. For the first time ever, he felt the power of deep work. By the end of week, he finished what earlier took him a month to finish. Then Meena said, when the mind becomes steady and quiet, its power becomes extraordinary. This is the message we get from slok 53 also. Focus creates capability. A calm mind becomes a sharp tool. But the real test came soon. One day, a major production outage hit the company. Servers crashed. Clients panicked. Team members ran around like participants in a who can panic more. Everybody's panic. Vikram's old version would have exploded in this kind of pressure situation. But this time, he stayed quiet, still. He breathed. He analyzed. He assigned tasks one by one. He did not shout. He did not complain or blame. People were shocked. Even the VP of that company, he whispered, "Is this the same Vikram who used to shout and complain about everything? Did someone replace him? Is he Buddha or Vikram?" Within 2 hours, everything was resolved smoothly. A teammate asked him later, "How did you stay so calm when the world was burning?" Vikram smiled and said, "When the noise inside you stops, the noise outside cannot touch you." This is the message we get. A purified, balanced mind remains undisturbed even in chaos. So Gita is applicable in every activity. The transformation, how it takes place? In 3 months, his team, Vikram's team, became high-performing team. His project became stable. Clients praised him. Juniors sought his guidance. The HR department used him as an example of emotional intelligence. And his reputation grew so high that someone even jokingly put a sticker on his desk, "Don't disturb, inner peace is at work." He is a man with inner peace. He can handle all outside chaos. Somebody put a notice on his desk, note, "Inner peace at work." Vikram had transformed from the walking escalation to the calmest manager in the company. So the essence of these shlokas in corporate life is, when confusion dissolves, priority becomes obvious. Focus replaces fear. Deep work replaces distraction. When purified mind, chaos lose their power to disturb you. Your inner peace, if you have, then the outside chaos don't disturb you at all. Now the same story we can discuss with a little bit of humor. Vikram, the project manager again, had a daily routine. He came to the office, stare at the screen, panic. Oh my God. Drink coffee, panic more, and send escalations. That was the habit. On Monday morning, he received 36-page client document full of contradictions. Page number 4, build a dark mode. Page number 7, avoid dark mode. Page number 12, use lower dark mode. Page number 18, nobody uses dark mode. Page 21, what is dark mode? This is all confusing document he received from the client. Vikram read it and he whispered, "This is not a requirement document. This is a thriller. What are they writing in this document?" His mentor again, Meena, she walked in time to stop him from emailing his resignation. He said, "I will resign now. I can't handle it anymore." She erased his whiteboard, which had more arrows on the board, and she asked, "Vikram, tell me in one sentence, what is the real problem?" After blinking like that Wi-Fi router blinks, trying to reconnect, Vikram said, "Three requirements are unclear. Everything else is nonsense." Meena said, "Congratulations. You attained the clarity." He felt like fog in his brain had been cleared. HR even suspected he was sick because he did not escalate anything that day. The guy used to escalate the problem every day. That day he did not do anything. So that means the message of Slok 52 has been achieved. Clarity appears the moment confusion is thrown out, like old company swag. Now, when Vikram stopped multitasking, Vikram decided to focus on three real problems. But every time he tried, Slack, ping, 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 email, ding, teammate, can you give me 2 minutes? Which always used to be more than 2 hours also sometimes. QA will report, there's a bug here. HR will say, fill up this survey of your assistant and yourself, or we'll haunt you forever. Then Meena finally said to him, for 1 hour, no notifications, no meetings, no distractions. He turned everything off. The office thought he had resigned and was serving a notice or what. But during that one blazed 1 hour of silence, Vikram got more work done than he had done in past 4 months combined. His brain, previously like bouncing ping pong ball, became a peaceful like still lake. He emerged from deep work like a saint returning from meditation. That calmness came to him. His teammate whispered, he had changed. He even can listen to us now. Earlier he was not even listening to us. So this is the message of Slok 53. A steady, single-pointed mind becomes as powerful as office Wi-Fi at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. nobody uses the Wi-Fi. So it is very powerful at 2 a.m. So when our mind is steady, single-pointed, our mind also becomes powerful. Then phase 3, what happens? Then came the real test. One Thursday, the production server crashed. Client shouted. CEO, he heard. Developers cried. Intern Googled how to fix server in 5 minutes. Can you find a solution on Google? How to fix server in 5 minutes? The office looked like a war zone. But Vikram, he sat quietly, calmly, sipping a chai. Somebody yelled, Vikram, everything is burning. You are so calm. He said, first breathe, then fix. People stared at him like he had achieved enlightenment or what in the cafeteria. He assigned a task without yelling at anyone. He did not blame anyone. He did not panic. He did not even misplace his glasses, which normally happens. When you are in a hurry, you misplace your glasses somewhere. He did not do even that. Within 2 hours, everything was stable. Calmness of mind. The VP came to inspect the situation and asked, how are you so calm? He used to panic even when anything small thing used to happen, you used to panic. But now with such disaster happening, you are not panicking. And this problem is getting solved in a couple of hours. Vikram smiled and said, when there is silence inside, noise outside becomes background music for my ears. The VP nodded very slowly and he said, thinking Vikram had joined some spiritual organization or what? He's talking such high thoughts. Has he joined Geeta Pariwar or what? So this is how the Gita can be brought in our day-to-day life. Clarity removes confusion, focus beats multitasking, inner peace beats outer chaos. This is the message we got. Now next sloka. Brahmabhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktin lavade param. One situated in transcendental Parabrahma realization becomes mentally serene, neither grieving nor desiring, no shochati na kankshati. being equitably disposed towards all living beings, samasarveshu bhuteshu, such a yogi attains supreme devotion to me, mad bhakti lavate param. Now, Shri Krishna Bhagavan concludes his description of the stages of perfection, how to gain that perfection. The words Brahma Bhuta means the stage of Brahma realization. Situated in it, one is Prasannatma, meaning serene and unaffected by turbid and painful experiences, is Prasannatma. Na Shochati means one does not grieve or feel any incompleteness. Na Kankshati means one does not crave for anything material to make one happy. Such a yogi sees all living beings with equal vision, realizing the substratum, the base, the foundation of Brahma in all of them. In such a state, one is situated on the platform of realized knowledge. However, Shri Krishna concludes the slok with a twist. What is the twist? He says that in such a realized state of knowledge, one then attains parabhakti, divine love for the God. Mad bhakti lavade param. The Jnanis often say that bhakti is to be done only as an immediate step towards Brahma realization. They claim that the bhakti is for purification of heart and jnana remains at the end of journey. Thus they contend that those who possess a strong intellect can ignore devotion and simply cultivate knowledge. Therefore we say, no, Nai Jnana Sadusham Pavitram Vidyatat Samam Yoga Samsid Jnanena Salamyanti. So Jnana is the supreme, they say. God says devotion. Devotion is the must. Further he says in Shlok 55, Bhaktya mam vijanati yavanyashasmi tatpataha tato man tato jnatva vishade tadanantaram. Only by loving devotion to me does one come to know who am I in truth. Bhaktya mam vijanati yavanyashasmi tatpataha tato man tatpato jnatva vishade tadanantaram. Then having come to know me, my devotee enters into full consciousness of me. So devotion is that important. You may be jnani, but if you have no devotion, then you can't attain Paramatma. Devotion. Shri Krishna in earlier shloka explained in the, that one develops devotion on becoming situated in the transcendental knowledge. Now he says that only through devotion can one come to know God's personality, His real truth. Previously, Jnanis had realized God as Nirguna, gunaless, qualityless, Nirvishesha, attributeless, Nirakar, formless, Parabrahma. But the Jnani had not realized the personal form of God. The secret of that personal form of God cannot be known through karma, through jnana, through Ashtanga Yoga or any other means. It is the love that opens the door to the impossible and makes way to the inaccessible. Shri Krishna Bhagavan states that mystery of God's names, His forms, His virtues, His leelas, His abodes, His associates can only be comprehended through unalloyed, pure devotion. The devotees understand God because they possess the eye of love. That is what God wants. You may be jnani, but if you don't have the eye of love, then you can't attain the God, the personal form of God. Further, sarvakarmanya pisada kurmano madvyapashrayaha mat prasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. My devotees, through performing all kinds of actions, karma, take full refuge in me. Sarvakarmanya pisada kurmano madvyapashrayaha mat prasadadavapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. By my grace, they attain the eternal and imperishable. That means attain the Param Tattva. In the previous shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan explained that through bhakti, devotion, the devotees enter into the full awareness of Him. Equipped with that, they see everything in its connection with the God. They see their body, they see the mind, they see the intellect as energies of God. They see that their material possessions as the property of God. They see all living beings as the part and parcel of God. They see themselves as God's tiny, selfishlessness servant. In that divine consciousness, they do not give up karma. Rather, they give up the pride of being the doers and enjoyers of karma. They see all their karmas as devotional service to the Supreme, and they depend upon Him for its performance. Then upon leaving their body, they go to the divine abode of God. Just as the material dream world is made from material energy, the divine world is made from the spiritual energy. Hence it is free from the defects of material nature and is perfect in every way. Spiritual world. It is a Satchidananda, the full of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Regarding his divine realm, Shri Krishna has said in Adhyaya 15 also, Natadbhasayate suryo nishanko na pavaga yadgatva nivardante tadhama paramam mamo. Neither the sun, nor the moon, nor fire can illuminate that supreme abode of mine. Having gone there, one does not return to this material world again. That is tadhama paramam mamo. The various forms of God have their own personal abodes in the spiritual world, in the spiritual realm, where they engage in the eternal loving leelas, pastimes. The pastime is an activity that you do to help your you enjoyably pass the time. So that is the leela of Bhagavan, passing the time with their devotees. Those who perfect their selfless, loving service towards God, towards Him, go to the abode of their worship God. Thus, the devotees of Lord Krishna will go to Golok. Those of Lord Vishnu will go to Vaikuntha. The devotees of Lord Ram will go to Saket Lok. The worshippers of Lord Shiva will go to Shiva Lok. And those of Mother Durga will go to Devi Lok, and so on and so forth. The devotees who reach these divine abodes, having attained Him, participate in His divine leelas that are filled with perfection of the spiritual energy. What happens next? Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yugamupashritya macchitta satadam bhavo. Dedicate your every activity to me. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya. Making me your supreme goal, matparaha. Taking the shelter of yoga of buddhi, buddhi yugamupashritya, buddhi yoga. Keep your consciousness absorbed in me always. Macchitta satadam bhava. Yoga means connection, union. And buddhi yoga means having the intellect united, connected with the God. This union of intellect occurs when it is firmly convinced that everything in existence has emanated from God, is connected to Him, and is meant for His satisfaction. Let us position our intellect with our internal system. Within our body is the subtle antakaran, which we also colloquially call as our heart. It has 4 aspects to it. When it creates thoughts, we call it mind. When it analyzes and decides, we call it buddhi or intellect. When it gets attached to a person or event, we call it chitta or the consciousness, subconscious mind. And when it identifies with the attributes of body and becomes proud of it, we call it ahankar. So all these man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar or ego are the parts of our antakarana. In this internal machinery, the position of the intellect is dominant. It makes decisions, intellect, while the mind desires in accordance with those decisions. It works in accordance with those decisions. The desires in mind take place in accordance with the intellect. The chitta gets attached to the objects of affection. For example, if the intellect decides that security is the most important thing in this world, security, then the mind always yearns for security in life. If the decision of intellect is that prestige is the source of happiness in life, then the mind keeps yearning for prestige, prestige, prestige in the life. Throughout the day, we human beings control our mind with our intellect. That is why anger flows downwards, because we control our mind with our intellect. How? The CEO, he shouts at general manager. The general manager shouts back. He cannot shout back at the CEO. So what does he do? Instead, he vents his anger at the manager, one position lower than him. The manager controls himself despite feeling insulted, but he finds release by shouting at the foreman. The foreman takes it out on the worker, and the worker, he purges his frustration on his wife. The wife shouts at the children, and in each case, the intellect decides whether it is dangerous to get angry or whether it is not dangerous. What will the repercussions if I show my anger? The example illustrates that as human beings, our intellect possesses the ability to control the mind. When you know that you can shout back the general manager, but your mind still wants to shout, then you shout at the person lower than you. So your intellect advises your mind, boss, the problem if you shout back at your GM or your CEO. Thus, when we must cultivate the intellect with proper knowledge. In this small story, what happened? We had the knowledge that if we shout back at the CEO, we'll be in trouble. So we must cultivate the intellect with proper knowledge and use it to guide the mind in the proper direction. This is what Krishna Bhagavan says in Buddhi Yoga, developing a firm conviction of intellect that all work and all things are meant for the pleasure of God. That is Buddhi Yoga. Intellect should be developed in that way. For such a person of steadfast intellect, the chitta easily gets attached to the God. So the intellect is supreme. Further, Slok 58, Macchitta sarva durgani mat prasaddattarishyasi ata chetvam ahankaran nashroshasi vinangshasi. If you always remember me by my grace, you will overcome all the obstacles and difficulties. But if due to pride, ahankar, you do not listen to my advice, you will perish. You will perish. Ata chetma ahankara na shroshasi vinangshasi. Having advice in the earlier shloka on what to do, Shri Krishna Bhagavan now declares the benefits of his advice. मेरा सुनने को तो क्या फायदा होगा और नहीं सुनने को तो क्या नुकसान होगा? And the repercussions of not following it. The soul should not think that it is independent of God in any way. He may be Mavamasho, but you are not independent of God. If we take full shelter of the Lord with the mind fixed only on Him, then by His grace, all obstacles, all difficulties are resolved. But if out of vanity we disregard the instructions, thinking that we know better than the eternal wisdom of God and the scriptures, we will fail to attain the goal of human life. If we disregard God's advice given in Gita or in Vedas, we will not be able to attain the goal of human life. For there is no one superior to God. Can anyone is superior to Shri Krishna, who has said what is to be done by human beings, what they should do? In Gita, he has explicitly made it clear what we are supposed to do and what we are not supposed to do. Is there even greater than Lord Shri Krishna? Our intentions have to be pure in life. People with impure intentions can never attain the God. We should have full faith, full shraddha in every word of Gita. If our intentions are not pure, we cannot attain the God. Further, God says, Yadhankaram ashritya nayotsiti manyase mittesha vyavasayaste prakristvan niyokshati. This is a wonderful slok. After telling entire Gita, God is saying now, if motivated by pride, you think, I will not fight. Nayotsa, he has said that in second Adhyaya. I will not fight. So God says, if motivated by pride, you think, I shall not fight, your decision will be in vain. your innate nature will compel you to fight. In other words, if Shri Krishna Bhagavan had not said Gita to Arjuna, even then he would have been ready, get ready to fight. Then why did he say Gita? When this shloka is known that Yadhankarma Shaiteno Itsimannese Mitesha Vaste Prabhudesan Yushati, because it would have taken ages for Arjuna to come out of that feeling of I will not fight. And Shri Krishna Bhagavan did not have that much time at his disposal. So he wanted a quick solution. The quick solution will be by changing the mind of Arjuna. Speaking in a criticizing tone, Shri Krishna Bhagavan now delivers a word of caution. We should not think we have complete liberty to do what we wish. The soul does not have an independent existence. It is independent of. It is dependent on God's creation in many ways. In a materially bound state, it is under the influence of three gunas of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajā, Tamo. The combination of gunas creates our nature, and we are compelled to act according to its diktats. Hence, we do not have an absolute freedom to say, I will do what I like. We have to choose between good advice of God and the scriptures or the compulsions of our nature. Both are not in our hands. Prakriti is not in our hands. God is not in our hands, of course. Now, there is an anecdote regarding one's nature. A soldier, he retired after 30 years of army service and returned to his hometown. One day he was standing in a coffee shop, drinking a coffee. When a friend thought of a practical joke, he screamed from behind, "Attention!" Responding to that command had made a part of soldier's nature for years. Voluntarily, he dropped the cup of coffee from his hand and put his hand by the side in attention mode. Shri Krishna warns Arjuna that by nature, he was a warrior. If somebody says attention, he will also drop everything and stand in attention. And if out of pride he decides not to listen to good advice, his Kshatriya nature will still compel him to fight. If this was so, as I said, then why did Shri Krishna give Gita to Arjuna? He could have waited for Arjuna to fight on his own. This is because this was a Dharma Yuddha. And Shri Krishna Bhagavan did not want to take any chances. As this fighting spirit getting invoked in Arjuna's mind could have taken valuable time. And in that time, the damage surely would have been done already. That is why total cleansing of Arjuna's mind was necessary before the first arrow was shot in the war. If out of ego you are saying, I will not fight, such a decision is useless, because your very nature will force you back to fight, to come into action. How does it happen in our day-to-day life? Again, some small story. Rohan was a senior project manager in the large tech company. Although he was talented, he had one major weakness. He got irritated whenever someone pointed out his duties. Aapko ye karna hai. He used to get irritated. He liked to feel that he was the one deciding what to do. मेरे को बोलने वाला कौन है? This is what I should have to do. One day, when a major product launch was nearing, his director told him, Rohan, you need to coordinate the final integrations of this week. But Rohan, feeling that his freedom was being challenged, he replied, I am tired of people telling me what I should do. I am not handling this product anymore. I quit this responsibility. Okay? He went home satisfied, convinced that he should stood up. He had stood up for his prestige, for his reputation, for himself. But the next morning, things began to crumble. Developers started calling him because only he knew the integration logic of the project. Marketing asked him for details because he had created the original roadmap of the project. The finance team called him because vendors' payments depended on his approval. The director sent him an urgent message saying, Rohan, without your coordination, the entire launch of the project is stuck. Slowly, Rohan realized that even though he has said he would not work, his responsibilities, his role. He specialized in naturally pulling it pulled him back into the work. By afternoon, he was on the calls, answering queries, fixing issues, guiding teams, and coordinating the very launch he had vowed not to handle at all. At the end of the day, he laughed to himself. I tried to quit, but the universe dragged me back by my collar. Just by declaring I won't do it, you can't escape your innate duties. Your nature, your abilities, and your situation around you will inevitably push you towards the action you are meant to perform. Now, there can be a humorous side also of this story. Vijay was a classic corporate warrior, expert in PowerPoint, expert, fluent in buzzwords, and allergic to responsibility. One Monday morning, his boss said, Vijay, you will lead the audit preparation. Vijay reacted as if someone asked him to donate a kidney or what. I refuse. He said, I refuse. I am done with audits, deadlines, and these curd Excel sheets. I am not doing it. This is final. I won't do it. He dramatically closed his laptop, as if shutting the lead would shut down the entire corporate universe for him. He went home feeling victorious. क्या मजा चखाया सबको. मैं नहीं करूंगा. Imagining he had defeated the destiny. But destiny had other plans. The next morning at 9:05, Ritik from accounts called him. Sir, where is the last year's audit file? Only you know the folder. After 5 minutes, Ria from compliance called. Sir, the auditor says that the only one person they trust is you. Vijay wondered when he became trustworthy. But everybody started saying this. The intern said, Sir, how do I answer the question in the report? After some time, his boss entered. Vijay, you are the only one who understands this process. Just because you said no does not mean you are free. Your nature won't allow it. Vijay was knee-deep in spreadsheets, explaining formulas he had forgotten to create. He got back to work, that means. By 11 o'clock, he sighed. He said, I tried to escape the audit, but the audits did not try to escape me. It grabbed me. You can say I won't act, but your own skills, your own habits, and nature will drag you back. Sometimes with the force of 10 auditors and a panicking finance team, you are drawn back to the work. So God says, never say I won't do it. Your innate nature will drag you back in what you have earlier declared that I won't do it. Okay, next look. Swavjena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana kartunnitchasi anmohat karishyasya vashopitat. Arjuna, that action which out of delusion you don't want to do, you will be driven to do it by your own inclination, born out of your own material nature. Svavjena. Continuing his words of warning, now Shri Krishna Bhagavan further elaborates what he has said in the previous shloka. He says, due to samskars of your past lives, you have a kshatriya nature, Arjuna. Your inborn qualities of heroism, chivalry, honesty, and patriotism will compel you to fight. You have been trained in past lives and this one also to honor your duty as a warrior. Is it possible for you to be inactive when you see injustice being meted out to you or others in front of you? Your nature and your inclination are such that you vehemently oppose evil wherever you see it. Therefore, it is beneficial for you to fight in accordance with my instructions, rather than be compelled by your own nature to do the same after some time. Why don't you follow my instructions? I'm not saying anything contrary to your own innate nature. See how the reactions of Brahmin, Kshatriya or Vaishya temperament changes in a given situation. Suppose a bad element attacks a person in a marketplace. The Brahmin, what he will do? His innate nature is what? With folded hands, he will surrender to him, requesting him not to harm him, and because he is poor, does not have much to offer to him. A Kshatriya, his hand will automatically involuntarily go to his weapon and he will counterattack the attacker. Kshatriya. While a Vaishya, he will try to negotiate with some give and take. झगड़ा क्यों करते हैं भाई, थोड़ा लेन देन की बात करते हैं, आइए ना. These are the innate nature. They perform, they have got it from Prakriti. They can hardly go against it. The Brahman will not take a weapon in his hand. So this is the, God says, your innate nature will compel you to do what exactly your nature is. Today's last slok we'll take the last slok of the day today. ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां हृद्देशे अर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया. God says, the Supreme Lord dwells in the hearts of all living beings. Ishvara sarvabhutam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. According to their karmas, he directs the wandering of souls who are seated on a machine made of material energy, that is Maya. Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudani Maya. Now, emphasizing the dependence of the soul upon God, Shri Krishna Bhagavan says to Arjuna, Arjuna, whether you chose to obey me or not, your position will always remain under my dominion. The body in which you reside is a machine made from my Maya, by my Maya, material energy. Based upon your past karmas, I have given you the body you deserved. I too am seated in it, and I am noting all your thoughts, all your words, all your deeds. So I will also judge whatever you do in the present to decide your future. This is a great message to us. What we are doing now, by our karma being done now. So God says, do not think you are independent of me in any case, in any condition. Hence, Arjuna, it is in your self-interest to surrender to me. So the essence of this slok is, Lord resides in the hearts of every being. And his divine power, Maya, with that Maya, all beings are set in motion if he mounted, as if they are mounted on a machine. Ishvara Bhutano Urdesha Junashti Brahmayan Sarvabhutani Yantra Rudani Maya. Now, what is the relevance of this shloka in today's life? That God is putting us on a machine and we are running. He is running the machine and we are only sitting on that, the machine being run by him. Raghav was a young man living in a big city, always proud of how independent and self-made he was. He would often tell his friends, I don't need God or destiny. I am driver of my own life. Every turn I take is because of my choices. I decide for my. One morning, he booked a cab to his office. The cab arrived. An advanced self-driving car. The Tesla, we see the Tesla, self-driving car. The company had recently introduced that Tesla-like car, self-driving car. Raghav told the driver, let the autopilot take us. I want to see how good it is. The driver smiled, tapped the dashboard. Sir, this vehicle works on an internal guidance system, far smarter than us. You will hardly feel the machine, but it's doing everything. As the car moved smoothly through the traffic, Raghav relaxed. He kept saying, how perfectly I am choosing my roads. How well I am navigating. The driver chuckled. Sir, you are not navigating. The system is navigating. Raghav protested. But it's going exactly the way I want. It's going exactly where I want to go. Yes, sir, the driver replied very gently. Your destination is yours. But the mechanism that carries you, the sensors, the wheels, the engine, the intelligence, none of this is yours. A sudden realization washed over Raghav. He was sitting comfortably in the car, thinking he was in the control, while the machine silently carried him. The driver then added, as if reading his thoughts, most people think they are the ones running everything. But the car of life runs because of greater power is quietly operating from within. Raghava was confused. So I'm not doing anything. Everything car is doing, I'm not doing anything. Driver said, no, sir, you do act, you do decide. But the very ability to think, to move, to breathe, or to choose, that functioning comes from something deeper, something divine. The word struck him like lightning. He understood. Just like the autopilot hidden inside the car, there is a subtle power within every being, guiding, enabling, and supporting, without which no action is possible. That evening, Raghav went home humble than ever. He sat quietly and whispered, there is a Lord within me, carrying me, moving me, guiding me, my journey. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshe yuntishtati, Brahmain sarvabhutani yantra rudani maya. And for the first time, he felt deep gratitude for that invisible driver, the Paramatma, seated in the heart. The one who, as Geeta says, turns all beings as if mounted on a machine. Brahmayan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani maya. Okay, we stop here. Now the forum is open for your questions. Thank you so much for your patience. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to respected Bhaiya for the wonderful and the thought-provoking session. And his presentation was very enlightening. The insights imparted were of great and profound knowledge. And before we proceed on to the question answer round, I have a quick information once again about the Olympiad on play.learngeeta.com. It's a great information for everyone. Tomorrow on 15th of February, there will be harbingering of the semi-final of the Arjun group. And you all can join via the YouTube link from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then you can play also along with joining on the YouTube. You don't forget it, join on time, and don't let the enthusiasm and excitement go down. And secondly, the L1 grammar session will be conducted tomorrow. All the links and the timings will be shared in your respective groups. Don't forget to miss that also. And now is the time for the question answers. Those who have questions, kindly raise your hands and open your videos. Any questions? Anyone? Please raise your hands. Yes, Bhaiya. And unmute yourself. Yeah, Bhaiya.
Yes, sir. My question is,
Yeah.
are you listening, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
My question is, when we are to act as per our, what you call it, the nature, then if suppose we are doing something bad as per our nature, how to shift from that bad nature to the good nature?
That is the process we are following in Adhyatma. Our past karmas, which are controlling our sanskars, we can purify our sanskars with our sadhana, with chintan, the contemplation of knowledge that we are learning. You will have to take first effort. You will have to walk a small distance towards this goal, towards the God. Rest everything will be taken care by the God. Otherwise, people will continue to live in the same world that they were living in the last life. Nobody will improve. But God has given you the freedom. Two types of freedom we have. One is the freedom to act, and second is the freedom to think. Now, whatever we think, if it is bringing us closer to the God, God will be very happy to help us to do the karmas which will help us to go closer to the God. But if we think that
repeatedly Chintan Manan will divert my attitude towards the God, and that habit will vanish of its own.
Yes. Yeah. Then habits can be rectified, can be cleared. Past circles can be washed out. If we learn this magic of removing two poisonous teeth of our karma, one poisonous teeth is Swa Kartutva Abhiman, the sense of doership, I am the doer. And second is putting our sight always on the karma phala, what I will get by doing this.
Mm.
These are the two poisonous teeth which keep us under bondage. If we learn the technique to do away with these two poisonous teeth of our karma, then every karma that we do becomes a nishkam karma. And nishkam karma does not put you under any bondage. So when you cultivate this habit in your day-to-day behavior,
Right.
you start going closer and closer to the God. Your
Yes.
sanskars are automatically getting washed out.
Right. Right.
So whatever we learn from Gita, if we follow one charan only of Gita, it helps us
Yes.
to wash out our past sanskars. And
Right.
then we can change our thinking. Our karmas automatically get changed as per our thinking. And we go closer and closer to the God. Our sanskars becomes more and more purified. God has given us
Right.
this freedom to think and to work, to karma swatantra and thinking, vichar swatantra. With those, both these are given to us. We are free to think whatever we want, isn't it? Nobody stops us
Right.
from thinking what I want to think. Or nobody can stop it from, if I want to do something, I will do it. Nobody can stop me. So, but if we misuse this freedom given by God, like people misuse the principle of democracy by taking everything in their hands wrongfully sometimes, they damage themselves, they harm themselves. So freedom, if it is given, it is to be used for right purpose.
Sometimes I feel that sometimes I indulge in something wrong.
Yeah.
As per my nature, something
Yes.
from my inner side drags me back. Something it's my feeling. Some inner power drags me. That inner power warns me. Yeah, be alert.
Yes.
You are doing wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
So why you get dragged? Because of your ichha, your kamana. And God has
Yes.
blamed that is the first enemy. Kama esha krodha esha rajoguna samadbhava. Our rajoguna becomes strong. And rajoguna gives birth to kamana and krodh. If kamana doesn't get fulfilled, you get krodh. Both are
Right.
bad. But first thing bad is kamana. If kamana is not there, there is a question of krodh coming to us. So if we can curb on our kamanas, automatically our krodh will reduce. And our wrongdoings will also reduce.
Right.
Every karma, right or wrong, we do because of our ichha, our kamana. If our kamanas are sattvic, we will do sattvic work. If our kamanas are rajasi or tamasi, we will do rajasi or tamasi work. So the purpose of learning Gita is this only, to cut down on our this kind of kamanas, which are putting us under bondage, and come clean. It needs a lot of efforts. It's not so easy, but that is what we are supposed to do.
Time and again, efforts are required.
Yes, of course.
To do.
Consistent efforts. Every day, consistent efforts are required. One day you do and second day you say, I have done it yesterday, so today there is no need to do it.
Right.
That does not help in the long run. It has to become your innate nature to become cleaner every day. Then only we can at the end of life probably come out of the clutches of our past sanskars. Otherwise, these sanskars will follow us even in the next life.
Right. Yes. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Anybody else has any questions? Kindly raise your hands. Thank you, Bhaiya, once again for this wonderful question answer round. I would like to thank each and every one of the sadhakas for attending today's session. We'll meet back again in the next week's enlightening session. I also thank the very vigilant and hardworking technical team. Without their continuous efforts, the session would not have been a great success. And now is the time to offer the prayer once again in the lotus feet of Shri Hari. For that, I would like to invite Vidya Narayanan ji, who's from Chennai. She's a HR professional with 16 years experience. Her hobbies are photography. She's educated as postgraduate. She joined Geeta Pariwar in July 24, and she's giving seva as co-trainer, technical assistant, GC, and tech mentor. Welcome, Vidya Didi.
Jai Shri Krishna. Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Vrajapriyam Dharma Samstapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you, Didi, for the wonderful prayer. Now is the time for Hanuman Chalisa.
चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरन रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा गानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र औ ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ जय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबेको आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबेको रसिया राम लखन सीता मन वसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर पल जानु प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावै सोई अमित जीवन फल पावै चारों जुग प्रताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावै जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावै अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरै हनुमत बल बीरा जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पाठ कर गोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।